Something that has not happened in astronomy history is occurring in our solar system right now. I am not exaggerating when I say that this could completely change our understanding of physics. The interstellar visitor, 3I Atlas, has caused a strange, unprecedented phenomenon. Scientists are trying to explain it using conventional theories. Our explanations are crumbling under the weight of observational data. We face a question that is causing discomfort even for experienced researchers. What activated 3I Atlas when it passed through our solar system? Why is this phenomenon intensifying as it approaches its closest point to the Sun on October 29? Let's go back to October 15, just 2 weeks before the critical moment of perihelion. The Hubble Space Telescope recorded something that should not be there, according to our current understanding of electromagnetic physics. It recorded a pulsation, not in space itself, and not in the fabric of space-time. It recorded a pulsation of something stranger. The local electromagnetic field around 3I Atlas seemed to oscillate. It spread in all directions waves on a cosmic pond for millions of kilometers. Dr. Sarah Chen from the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics first noticed the anomaly. She told me about it personally yesterday, and I heard excitement and disbelief in her voice. "Misha," she said, "we are measuring coherent electromagnetic oscillations coming from it at a frequency of exactly 1.42 GHz. 1.42 GHz is the hydrogen line, the most fundamental frequency in the universe. Natural sources emitting at this frequency show random phase changes, statistical noise, and chaotic fluctuations. What we observe shows phase coherence over several hours. It is unnatural and organized. The hydrogen line at 1.42 GHz is the frequency at which hydrogen atoms change their electronic state. It is called the universal frequency because any technologically advanced civilization would recognize its significance. Researchers have monitored this frequency for decades, searching for artificial signals from distant civilizations. Now, an interstellar object passing through our solar system is emitting at this frequency with incredible coherence. The probability of this happening by chance is less than 1 in 10 million, according to Chen's statistical analysis. The electromagnetic anomaly is just the first layer of this deep mystery. On October 18, just 3 days after Hubble's initial detection, something even more disturbing happened. Radio amateurs across the Northern Hemisphere began reporting the same phenomena. Unexplained interference appeared simultaneously in several frequency bands. Cascading disruptions lasted exactly 47 seconds, and then completely disappeared. These were not isolated cases scattered around the world. They occurred in a specific geographical zone, forming an arc between 35 and 55 degrees north latitude. This arc, when mapped, forms a curved line pointing directly to the position of 3I Atlas in the sky at the moment of interference. Marcus Rodriguez, a telecommunications engineer from Colorado, made detailed recordings during one such event. He sent me the data files, and I confess, I felt a chill down my spine. The interference was not random static, solar flare effects, or atmospheric ionization. It had a structure, a mathematical structure. Rodriguez performed a Fourier analysis, decomposing the complex signal into its component frequencies. He discovered repeating sequences of pulses with precise intervals of 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. The Fibonacci sequence is a mathematical progression that occurs in nature. Finding it in radio interference synchronized with the position of an interstellar visitor is not a coincidence. As a theoretical physicist, I must consider all possible explanations before making unusual hypotheses. Could these phenomena be the result of intense solar activity coinciding with the approach of 3I Atlas? The Sun has been relatively quiet during this cycle, No major coronal mass ejections or significant flares have been recorded during the relevant period. Parker Solar Probe measurements show normal solar wind conditions. This explanation is ruled out. Perhaps we are observing some exotic form of cometary outgassing. Ordinary comets release water vapor, carbon dioxide, and dust particles. But electromagnetic radiation with phase coherence, organized radio interference, and mathematical sequences are unusual. There is no known mechanism by which sublimating ice or escaping gases could produce such effects. Physics does not support this interpretation. What about the interaction of 3I Atlas's magnetic field with the interplanetary medium? Charged particles passing through magnetic field lines can generate electromagnetic radiation. These natural processes produce broadband radiation on several frequencies simultaneously. It's not narrowband radiation on specific, meaningful frequencies. They also do not encode mathematical progressions into terrestrial radio interference. This explanation does not hold up. We are in an uncomfortable position. All ordinary explanations have failed. Any attempt to fit these observations into existing natural astrophysics frameworks faces insurmountable contradictions. Today, October 21, just 8 days before perihelion, the situation has escalated beyond our understanding. The James Webb Space Telescope, humanity's most advanced infrared observatory, has discovered something. This discovery has caused the astronomical community to urgently convene. 3I Atlas is emitting thermal radiation that violates fundamental principles of thermodynamics. Every object in the universe above absolute zero emits thermal energy. The hotter the object, the more energy it emits. This dependence follows exact mathematical laws formulated by Max Planck over a century ago. These are firm physical principles confirmed by experiments and observations. 3I Atlas appears to selectively radiate more energy in certain directions than in others. It creates a directed pattern of thermal emission. Ordinary physics requires rotation with different surface temperatures or some focusing mechanism. Spectroscopic analysis shows that 3I Atlas has a surface with uniform composition and temperature. There should be no mechanism to create directed radiation. The direction of maximum thermal radiation almost points to Earth. It does not point to the Sun, which would be logical if solar radiation caused asymmetrical outgassing. Instead, it points directly at our planet. It accurately maintains the direction of movement of both objects along their orbits. Dr. James Nkoma from the European Southern Observatory performed independent calculations. His conclusion was direct and unambiguous. Either we are fundamentally wrong about the physics of thermal radiation, which would refute 150 years of confirmed science, or we are observing deliberate radiation. There is no third option that reconciles the data with natural processes. Deliberate radiation implies intention and purpose. It forces us to recognize that 3I Atlas is not simply reacting to its environment. It actively directs energy at a specific target. Why are you considering these unusual interpretations, Misha? Why not admit that we do not understand what is happening and wait for new data? Scientific caution is one of the main virtues of our discipline. I have realized that sometimes the universe presents us with observations that contradict our expectations. To insist on traditional explanations becomes more unscientific than to admit that we are observing something unprecedented. In 1967, Jocelyn Bell Burnell discovered radio sources emitting pulses with clockwork precision every 337 seconds. The signals were so regular that her research team jokingly called them LGM, Little Green Men. They were uncomfortable with the idea of artificial origin, but this initial instinct of considering an unusual explanation was simply premature. Eventually, we discovered pulsars, rotating neutron stars emitting radio waves. Pulsars fit into existing physics. Rotating neutron stars with intense magnetic fields generate directional radiation. It is exotic, but it does not violate any fundamental principles. What we are observing with 3I Atlas does not fit. It contradicts multiple independent physical principles. It's what we expect when encountering technology, not nature. The situation has intensified just hours ago. I received an urgent message from colleagues at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. They were conducting continuous radar monitoring of 3I Atlas during its approach to perihelion. They discovered something that defies simple interpretation. When they send radar pulses towards the object, expecting a simple reflection, something unexpected happens. The returning signal has anomalous characteristics. It is not simply reflected radar from a solid surface or a rocky body. The returning signal shows signs of modulation. Someone or something seems to be altering the radar echo before sending it back. Dr. Lisa Park, who leads the radar astronomy team, described it this way. Imagine you shout into a cave and hear your echo. Now imagine you shout into that cave and hear your echo, but with added words you didn't speak. That's what's happening here. We send a simple pulse and receive a complex signal containing information we didn't transmit. What information is 3I Atlas trying to communicate if it's a message? The radar astronomy team is working with cryptographers and information theorists. They are trying to decipher the modulation, find mathematical structures, or identify sequences that could reveal intentional content. The very existence of modulation forces us to cross a threshold we've never approached before. Since its flyby of Mars on October 3, when 3I Atlas passed just 29 million kilometers from the planet, the electromagnetic disturbances are not acting as we expect. As 3I Atlas approaches perihelion on October 29, these disturbances are not decreasing with distance from Mars. They are intensifying, becoming stronger, and spreading in concentric waves. These waves cover almost 40 million kilometers of space. Dr. Robert Tanaka from the Institute for Cosmic Ray Research at the University of Tokyo is modeling the propagation of the waves. His preliminary findings are alarming. These are not random electromagnetic fluctuations. They exhibit characteristics of a carrier wave. The electromagnetic disturbances would require energy sources at a level we associate with planetary civilizations. The intensity increases as it approaches perihelion. We are not discussing the electromagnetic emissions of something the size of a satellite. We are considering energy generation possibilities consistent with the energy budget of industrial worlds. This raises a question beyond astronomy. What exactly did 3I Atlas trigger when it flew past Mars on October 3? I use the word triggered intentionally. The more data we gather, the more it seems that 3I Atlas did not create these phenomena through its internal processes. Instead, it appears to have activated something that was already here, dormant, waiting. The electromagnetic disturbances spread from multiple points across the inner solar system. It's as if the visitor's passage through our system flipped a switch. It awakened a network whose existence we never suspected. This hypothesis suggests that there could be infrastructure in our solar system that we did not build or discover. Ancient technologies, left by visitors who came before and left behind observation stations. These are communication repeaters that activate under certain conditions. 3I Atlas, with its hollow structure and trajectory past Mars, could be the key designed to activate this ancient network. Nothing I've described is definitive proof of artificial origin or technological activity. Every observation could theoretically be the result of natural processes we don't understand. New physics and exotic phenomena operate on principles we have not discovered. The universe has surprised us before with natural explanations, and will surprise us again. But, as a theoretical physicist, I know that when independent anomalies converge simultaneously, probability calculations shift dramatically. This calculation points to something that challenges everything we thought we knew about our cosmic isolation. The next 8 days are critical. On October 29, 3I Atlas will reach perihelion, its closest point to the Sun at about 1.5 AU. It will be moving at maximum speed, undergoing the most intense solar heating and radiation. It will be on the far side of the Sun from Earth. We will not be able to observe it directly. Our telescopes will be useless, staring into the glare of the Sun. There will be a gap in our observation for several weeks. Whatever 3I Atlas is doing, it will peak when we cannot observe. A small push applied at maximum speed results in enormous changes in the final trajectory. If the electromagnetic disturbances represent some form of propulsion system warming up and gaining power, October 29 may be the day that everything changes. There is another possibility that worries me even more. What if the electromagnetic network that 3I Atlas seems to have triggered is not for movement or communication? What if it serves a different purpose? Directed thermal radiation toward Earth and modulation of radar signals. All of these phenomena could represent scanning, reconnaissance, and detailed observation of our planet and our technology. If that's the case, perihelion may not mean that 3I Atlas is performing a maneuver. It may mean the moment when what has been watching us completes its assessment and decides what to do next. The data will either show 3I Atlas disintegrating an ordinary comet under the thermal stress, allowing natural explanations to prevail. Or it will show something else that forces us to admit that we are not alone, that we never have been, that there are mysteries in our solar system. These mysteries appeared long before humanity began asking questions about the cosmos.